All right. Good morning, everybody. I would like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Marla Billinghurst, and I will be chairing the meeting this morning. With me on the panel are Mr. Ian Mann and Ms. Lynn Nesbitt. Representing the assessment department is Mr. Matthew Barakas, and the administrative person is Mr. Jaswinder Kumar. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you may leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 10 on our docket today. Mr. Kumar, please affirm the assessor's and the applicant's testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Matthew Barakas.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont, please state your full name.
Henry Dupont.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. The first matter we will be hearing is 405 Assiniboine Avenue. Mr. Barakas, please proceed when you are ready.
Okay, thank you. File number 22-1503, roll number 12092635100, 405 Assiniboine Avenue. The roll here is 2023. For April 1st, 2021, records state the assessed value $3,240,000. It's an apartment, one building, 3 stories, 1950. We do not have any effective age reflecting any sort of renovations on record. 34 suites, 28 outdoor parking spots. Page 2, they've always been good with handing in their mailers. There's a dollar sale in 2009. I didn't look into it. There's no point. Page 3 shows the income value summary. So of the 34 units, 12 of them are 1 bedroom, 22 of them are 2-bedroom. $949.23 on the average monthly rent. We got our modeled workup here with a 5.3 cap. Comes out at our $171,698 net operating income, which is actually, for the purpose of streamlining things, unless something's changed, lower than the applicant. So I believe it's predominantly a cap rate disagreement at this point. So with that, we've got our model cap and a $3,240,000 estimated market value. The rent comps, they're on page 4, but since I know I really didn't do too much in dispute, ultimately, I'm not going to go into too much depth. You can see on the average monthly rent per unit. Comparables in the area, we are in the lower end of the range. So didn't make any changes. Page 5, these are a sample of some actual sales that took place during the reference period. They're not meant to be site specific to this property or any other property. This page is attached to every property you'll see on the docket. These are sales that I reviewed, and they had 3-year income and expense statements available that were not erratic in nature. These sales aren't associated or done or purchased. We have no indication that were purchased for any substantial renovation. So you can see here 3.6 to 5.74. That one on St. Mary's, that is pretty low, at 3.6 for sure. That's the outlier there. The majority of the range is about 4.77, 5.74. So when you go to the next page, on page 6, you'll see the multifamily row, 5th row down, City of Winnipeg, 3rd column over, 20th and 80th percentile, 4.8 to 5.6. So the sales review that I found and calculated on a site-specific basis, that range basically mirrors what the model is putting out. So that's good to see. That serves as support for that. Page 6, Municipal Act excerpts. And then page 8, here you can see statement of earnings, most recent statement of earnings. And then we've got just a picture from the outside. Didn't have any interior pictures to work with, so I just took a Google Street View, and then you can see right here its location on Assiniboine Avenue. It's getting to the end of Assiniboine, and it's kind of near across the street from the apartments and condos that front on the Red River and the Forks River Walk Trail. So it's like our NOI is not in dispute, so it's a cap rate issue. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. DuPont, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Yeah, so your page 6, when you show the cap rates from the broker's report.
Yeah.
So the first one, low rise, Collier's 5 to 6, and the subject is built 1950. So would you agree they should be at the high end of that range?
No, that's for like all parts of the city. That would be inclusive of areas that are less attractive than downtown, Broadway, Assiniboine, by the legislative, by the river. So I think area really weighs heavily. And so I wouldn't agree with that.
But you have low rise every age. So the newer ones in the would have a lower cap rate. You would agree with that?
Well, I mean, like if you put if you put one right next to it that was newer, someone might buy it with a lower cap rate. Or I heard another agent yesterday say, well, then if it's a brand new, then it has no upside and you can't potentially renovate it. So people aren't interested in that. So it's almost like what the investor would potentially be looking at. There's a limited amount of property that's in this area. It's an attractive area to rent. There's a lot of investor sentiment, new development going in there, showing that the private world does think that that Broadway, South Gorge area is something that's a good place to put their money. So I think 5.3, we're not below the range. We're not at the bottom of the range. We're closer to the middle. So I'm okay with that cap.
405 Assiniboine, that's downtown.
Yeah.
So would you agree that downtown is now a dangerous place to live, so it's not a good area?
Broadway, Assiniboine. I think there's different parts of downtown. I think you were looking at, like, for instance, I think there's some couple properties in your cap rate study, which I would characterize as a different sort of area. Then you get like Langside and Yonge Street and Furby and more of that area. That's different than Broadway, Assiniboine. So I don't think Broadway, Assiniboine is a bad area at all.
So questions I have.
Okay.
I have rebuttal to his cap rate.
Okay. Well, let's deal with the questions on this right now.
Okay.
Mr. Mann, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Just with respect to the chart on page 5, the properties that you have listed, are those properties incorporated into the chart on page 6 as well?
So the ones on page 5, these are the ones that I found. Like, I went through a list of sales, looked at the information we had to try and come up with some site-specific capitalization rates based on the actual sale price and then the stabilized net operating income. So that's what I came up with here.
Okay.
There were several other ones that didn't make it. The one on the next page, to your question, this is what the model is generating. So I'm not involved in the modeling process. I know it's based on the sales information that we do have. So I suppose that these sales would be built into this calculation, and other information as well we have, because these are good sales.
Okay. And just following up on something you said with respect to the capitalization rates from page 5, those are those were ones that you established with respect to how many years of income or how many years of the mailers?
Yes. So I looked at, you can see on the third column over whatever the year of the sale date is, I had 3 mailers going backwards. So if the first one, 2020, I would have used the 17, 18, and 19 mailer. So I looked it over a historical standpoint, not just a 1-year snapshot, much like the applicant does when they do their stabilization.
Great. Thank you very much. That's my question.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nesbitt, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not have any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Nor do I. So, Mr. DuPont, you can proceed with your presentation now.
Before I do the rebuttal on this cap rate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'll see the photo at the beginning. It's an old property, built 1950. And the map is, you scroll to that page 7. That shows where it is. Between Leslie and Donald. And then the income approach, page 12. To line 13, we have higher than city for EGI. Our expenses are slightly higher than city. So we end up with a net income of 180,000 versus the assessor 172,000. So we have slightly higher NOI. And so it's a cap rate issue only. The assessor is at 5.3, we're at 5.75. Then previous page actually, at page 11, shows our conclusions for the cap rate. So the subject is built in 1946, 1959. So it fits in the age group of 5.75. And our cap rates for 2023 are the same as the settlement cap rate for 2020 that we had with the city assessor for the municipal board. We show the market report by Colliers and CBRE and Cushman that is similar to the assessor. So our cap rate falls in that range. So I would like to give my cap rate report this time.
Okay, well,
Or I'm open for questioning.
yes. Let me just get to the questions first.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Baracus, do you have any questions for Mr. DuPont? Mr. Baracus?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I can hear you now, yes. Do you have any
I'm just,
questions for Mr. DuPont?
let me see here. Not at the moment.
Okay.
I'll save it for the cap rate stuff later.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mann, any questions?
Yes, just one with respect to your page 11, Mr. DuPont. The cap rates that you have are, there's no range. After 1946, it's just a flat cap rate. If it's between certain years, it's 5.75 or 5.5 or 5.25. There's no range for each of those categories?
No, that's similar to how we settle the cap rates. The assessor for 2014, 16, 18, 20, we put everything in the same category, one cap rate, and we may add for premium for site-specific factors. So that's the base cap rate for that age group.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Ms. Nesbitt.
Yes, I also have a question on the cap rates presented on page 11. So you note that it's good quality properties in good locations. Would you view this as a good location? Or is this like, is age the primary driving factor on this? How much weight do you give to age versus location?
Age is the primary category, and number of stories. So that's the category it falls in. And the location, the assessor normally has a location premium for North End and West End, and we would add those premiums to the base cap rates. And then when we do site-specific factors for each property, we'll have site-specific locations. And this one, Assiniboine, traditionally it's okay, except that the downtown has a problem with drug addicts and homeless people, and it's become more of a dangerous place. And the vacancy in downtown has tended to be higher for 2020. In general, we're not making it an issue here because the Sussex statement includes their vacancy, whatever they are. But we do have a separate report on the vacancy downtown, and usually we bring that up for our newer properties or properties that have a vacancy problem.
Okay, so as you pointed out, this is a base rate. You said you can make adjustments upwards. Depending on a wide range of factors. Do you ever make adjustments downwards?
No.
So it's inflexible, like that's what it is for. I mean, I know you're going to present your cap rate study, so okay.
All right. Good quality, good locations. Therefore, there's no premium to deduct in the cap rate for better locations.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. We have never done that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. I have no questions at this time. So Mr. DuPont, you may proceed with your rebuttal evidence.
Can we just take a minute to find it? Also?
Yes, absolutely. That was going to... Where is it?
Did you send the rebuttal evidence? Or is just the cap study you sent?
I don't recall what I sent. I tried to send rebuttal for every hearing. I don't know whether I sent. You want me to check my emails?
Okay, well, what we have is something, just let me make sure. We have an Altus 2023 cap rate study for apartments. Is that your rebuttal evidence?
No, that's my own direct evidence. The other one's called rebuttal to assess your cap rate.
Other than that, we don't have anything, Mr. Dupont.
Okay. I can give verbal rebuttal.
Okay, then.
The assessor comparable 2390 McPhillips. The property was bought below market rent, so my own study will calculate that. So the it's not that crucial to have it in the rebuttal because we have a cap rate on that one also. So what we had as rebuttal is that we checked the internet. We found out that the current purchaser is asking, current owner is asking for much higher rents than what the property was sold at, what the pro forma had. So they've increased the rents quite a bit since then. So we state that the property was below market rent and the rent should be adjusted upward. Now the next comparable is that we have rebuttal on is 700 St. Mary's. We obtained a letter from D7, the property manager. They stated the purchaser is a young man just starting out, first purchase, no previous experience, but he purchased 700 St. Mary's with the intention of renovating. The building was in rough shape. The previous owner had done nothing for repair in quite a while. He has done some renovations to the common areas of the building, such as repainting the halls, replacing the carpet. He plans to do more, but COVID and funds prevented him from doing so. But he did buy intention to renovate, and the property is in poor condition. So the cap rate, if the assessor would show how they arrive at the cap rate, which they don't, they would show they had low rents and low repair and maintenance. The next one is 32 Arden. There's an ad after purchase where it says recently modeled. So the purchaser also had intention to remodel. And we have the questionnaires on this property. We had it as a cap rate ourselves at the beginning, and we removed it when we found out there was laundry income for 2 years, but did not have laundry income for the third year. It was missing, and we checked with the owner. He stated that they start to collect their own laundry, and that's why they're not showing the Sussex statement. So the cap rate that we had, we removed it because they had some income missing, and the assessor's using information that does not take into consideration the missing laundry. So that'd be my rebuttal.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Baracus, do you have any questions for the applicant regarding his rebuttal evidence?
Yeah, so I'll try to remember too. 2390 McPhillips, for your determination of the rents being leading up to the sale being below market, that determination was reached by using post-reference financial information. Would that be a fair statement?
That's what alerted me that the property was below market, and then I used CMHC rents for 2005 apartments, properties built after 2005, but within the reference date.
So you think when they bought the property, they brought the CMHC tables with them and used that instead of the
definition?
rents?
The definition of market value is that it has to be a knowledgeable purchaser and vendor. And so if they're knowledgeable, they will know the first thing there is CMHC reports. Everybody has that. Any buyer that's smart will have that, but they will likely have a lot more than that. They're buying new apartments. They would research what new apartments are renting for. That's very easy to do. You go on the internet, you go a whole bunch of new properties you know of, you find all the rents that these properties are renting for. So purchaser would be knowledgeable.
Okay.
And by assumption, that's the definition of market value.
Okay, so you think the purchaser, they had an appraisal that increased the rents, so it would be a more expensive purchase? Like they probably had an appraisal done on both sides, right? For a purchase this big, so it would be a knowledgeable transaction.
It rarely is there an appraisal on the selling side, and there's an appraisal on the buying side after they have bought. I was an appraiser, and the appraisals are done after they buy a property. That's when they want to do the financing. They come with their offer. Please finance this, and they have an appraiser. So that most appraisals are done, and the appraiser states we are aware of the purchase price of so and so. That's how things are normally done. Appraisals after the sale.
Okay. Well, I'll save the rest of my comments for that when you present that in your study. For 700 St. Mary's, you mentioned that they replaced some carpeting and they did some painting in the common area. Is that correct?
Yeah. They also changed some appliances. I also talked to D7, the property manager, and she said that they had done a couple suites or whatever at that time when I talked to her. They had replaced. Upon turnover, they were upgrading the suite finish.
So this was done before the sale or after the sale?
After the sale. So they bought it with the intention to renovate. And I didn't finish saying, but the municipal board has ruled in the ruling, which we have attached to our rebuttal when we do provide one. The municipal board had agreed that the sales that where they had the intention to renovate should not be used as comparables, as they are not buying based on the existing income stream. They're buying on a projected income stream after renovations.
Okay, but did that not very same order say that the board does not exclude all potential purchases with renovation intentions unless the renovation is substantial, which would usually include structural work, major work, including redemising of the internal walls? Isn't that true that is also in that municipal board?
They said there has to be significant improvements that would change the income, and they had disallowed four or five cap rates that the assessor had for that hearing, and they were not structural in nature. They just were renovating, so that they disallowed those. So that, anyways, the thing is that if you're buying with the intention to renovate, you're not buying on the existing income stream. That's the main argument. If you're going to change the income stream after purchase.
And then 32 Arden, I know it used to be in your cap rate study. Just to be clear, you removed it. I know there was a parking issue, not issue, but disagreement. But ultimately, just to be clear, it got removed because out of the 3-year stabilization, it was the last year that they didn't list their laundry income, which was in the $2,000 range. Would that be, from memory, something that rings a bell?
I tried to get the owner to tell me what the laundry was, and he never told me. So I can't say what range. There was missing information, therefore I stopped using that property as a comparable.
I mean, given that amount is so low, couldn't you just use the laundry from the year before, given that the 2 years prior looked pretty similar in the $2,000 range?
You can make all sorts of adjustments if you don't have information. You can make guesses, but I'd rather not use that property when some piece of information is missing.
And just last question, just to be clear, when you mentioned that it had been that had been renovated, in your notes when it was in your cap rate study, there was notes saying that it had significant renovations in 2009, 2010. Is that correct?
And they sold on or about 2020, like 10 years later. The ad says specifically recently remodeled units. It doesn't say remodeled 10 years ago.
Can realtors be a bit flexible with their language in terms of their attempts to incentivize potential purchasers, in your experience?
That is not come from a realtor. That comes from the ad of the current owner. He's putting up for rent after he bought the property, and he says recently remodeled.
All right, those are my rebuttal questions.
It says new appliances, facilities, and appliances you usually change every 8 years or so. So renovations done 10 years ago would mean they would have 10-year-old appliances that would not be renovated.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Mann, do you have any questions on the rebuttal evidence?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
Yes, I do. Just a quick one. Mr. DuPont, you've raised issues with 3 of the example cap rates presented by the assessor. So would it be correct that you don't have concerns with the other 3?
I have concerns with all of them. The assessor does not show these financial statements that he supposedly has. He doesn't show how he arrived at them. So there's very little I can cross-examine it on because he's not giving me information.
Okay, and did you specifically have the information on McPhillips, St. Mary's, and Arden?
Yes, I had that, or I did obtain that.
Do you have it on Bertrand, Corridon, and Maryland?
Maryland, I believe we have the cap rate on it also.
Okay.
And I think we're very close on that one.
Okay.
Bertrand, I don't have information on that one, so I can't give you anything because I don't have it. I forget which other one you said there.
Corridon?
No, I don't have information on that. So
Okay. Okay, then. That's all my questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I have no questions on this. So, Mr. Barakis, do you have any rebuttal evidence?
Yeah, I have a cap rate rebuttal. I'll go
but I have to present my
I think he goes first. Yeah, and he has to present before I can disagree, essentially.
So why didn't you present that when you were making your presentation? If that was Mr. DuPont, if that was your evidence, because you presented your evidence and your rebuttal evidence. So what do you have now that we are presenting? If this is not evidence and this is not rebuttal, what is this?
I never said I was finished with my evidence. I said I had a rebuttal on his report, and I have my own cap rate report. And so I'd like to present it now. I never said I was finished.
Oh, okay. The way there is a
That's the way I understood it too. I thought he was gonna, from what I heard him say, he wants to present it. So I'm fine with that. I think it's just a miscommunication.
Yes, I have proceedings that I've been tasked to follow. So I guess because it seems to be a miscommunication, then fine, Mr. DuPont, I will allow you to present your evidence. So what is this, your cap rate study now? Okay.
Great. So everybody's got it.
So is this the one I specifically asked you about previously?
I don't know what you specifically asked.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And go ahead.
So the page 5 shows our table for the cap rates we have for the age groups, similar to what we have in our reports. The next page, page 6, is the 10 comparables that we have. And the first one is 2390 McPhillips. And we have 555 Corden, 677 Maryland. I believe we're pretty much in agreement with the assessor on these two. And also for newer properties, we have the comparable 8, 9, and 10. So 333 Ward, 718 Beach, 100 Southview. Those are built 2016, 2006, 2014, and 2014. We had used those three comparables for the 2020 settlement of cap rate. We had come to an agreement at 5.25 for 1999 plus. For those comparables, we now have added 2390 McPhillips. We have now 4 properties of newer that are newly built. And then we can go to the appendix to see the first, I believe, I have to scroll through.
This is Appendix A.
The report I should have sent you was R5, one report.
Yes, but it's 148 pages. Which page
Oh,
are you
yeah. I'm trying to find it. No. I'm scrolling. And so it starts at page 40. It says Appendix D, and it starts page 44.
Thank you.
And that's the cap rate income approach that we've done. So we showed the 3 years actual performance. We showed a pro forma the agent was putting out, and then we stabilize. And that's the cap rate income approach. So the assessor does not have that. The assessor just says, this is our cap rate, doesn't show how they arrived at it. So we have done the stabilization. And Matt has done an income approach as rebuttal of my cap rates. They have not ever done a income approach on their own cap rates. But in this particular case, the assessor in the past has agreed with our expenses, the stabilization of expenses. And so the main difference that we have is the rents. So the line 3, this is the rents they have, 1,445,000. We put in 1,649,000. That is based on CMHC because we say the actual rents are below market. The average 1339. And if you've done some hearings of new apartments, you'll see that most of the new apartments are between 1,500 to 1,700 per suite. 1,300 is very low. So on the far right, we have the little tables on top. It shows the vacancy for the type built 2005. And based on the suite mix and the CMHC vacancies, it comes to 3.47. So that's what we use in the vacancy. And then below that, I believe it's purple, the color. We have the rents that CMHC has for 2005 plus, and we rely on October 20 rents. 1317 for 1 bedroom, 1557 for 2 bedroom. The average it has is 1483. And the subject is mainly 2 bedrooms. Top right, you'll see it's an 11 1 bedroom, 79 2 bedroom. So the rents at subject suite mix at the CMHC rents is 1528 per suite. And that's what we plugged in the rents, line 3. And under that table, we say the pro forma rents were 1210 for 1 bedroom, 1373 for 2 bedroom. And you can see those rents are much lower than the CMHC rents. So CMHC rents versus the pro forma, $104 more for 1 bedroom, 184 more for 2 bedroom, and the actual rents after purchase were much higher than that. And so when we do that, we basically change the vacancy in the rents only we're in agreement with the assessor on the expenses, it comes to 5.59% cap rate. And the remarks at the bottom says it's like a new apartment that has all the amenities and 5 appliances, ensuite washers, pantry, etc., etc. So a stainless steel appliance, 146% parking. So it's a very high quality apartment. And then page 47 is the pro forma, shows what the rents they were asking, etc. So that's the background information. Then we have all the financial information, page 49, etc., that we rely on. And the CMHC tables are shown there, page 55, etc. So the next comparable, page 56, is 5.5 Corden, and it shows again each year of income that we rely on, how we stabilize each one, how we arrive by each one, all the financial statements we have as background for every property. So that's my report on the cap rate.
Thank you very much. Mr. Baracus, do you have any questions on this report?
Just rebuttal, please.
Okay. Mr. Mann, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions.
Okay, nor do I. Okay, Mr. Baracus, please proceed.
Okay, let me pull it up here. Okay, so I've seen this before, so I'll be quick. I don't think there's actually any new properties on this docket, and we're kind of fighting over 23 now, like Phillips a lot.
The two properties in Stradbroke are new.
Oh, pardon me, you're right. Right. Correction. Okay, so 2390 McPhillips. They're saying 5.59. I've calculated 4.79. So how did that happen? See on page 2, 333 Ward, which I know we're very familiar with, 5%. We're down a little bit from that. All this is got 2390 McPhillips, that's 5.6. So go to page 3. You can see my workup, like Henry said, it's the difference is the income that was used. So I use the actual income in place. That's what they were reporting. That's the hard data, the financials, the vendor and purchaser would have had at the time. They wouldn't have dreamed up they wouldn't have broken out the CMHC tables and dreamed up some higher rent. Based on a market report using properties from 2005 citywide, and increased the rent by a couple $100,000 on all units. That's what Alta said. They applied that higher rent to all units based on research from post-reference information. So I asked is what passes the smell test here? Using the actual rents or the post-reference based CMHC table derived from 2005 rents? 4.79 or 5.6 when we see cap rates declining. Other than that, expenses are good. It's north by McPhillips, closer to the perimeter. You can see on page 4, you can see what Altus did here. What's the likelihood they actually transacted based on these exact calculations versus the actuals? Like, interesting. Page 5 and 6 and 7 is the mailers. You can see what they've been consistently reporting. Corden, we agree. On page 11 and 12, page 13, is Maryland. There's just a difference in the repair and maintenance stabilization. I used the 2 most recent years. They used all 4 years because I used the 2 most recent years for one because it was 1,000, which seemed more reasonable, and because the years prior in 16 and 17 were lower because they were renovated. In 2013, new roof, windows, plumbing, electrical, flooring, kitchens, baths. you're going to get a little renovation dip in year-over-year repair and maintenance in the years following the renovation. It seems to tick back up to around $1,000 a unit, which according to the applicant is still low on the subject property side at least. 210 St. Mary's, there's a difference in the stabilized R&M as well. Balmoral and Langside on page 17. Starting with Belmar, the owner indicated on line 32 that they didn't purchase it based on the net operating income. So if you're doing up a stabilization based on the net operating income in place, there's no connection to the sale price as per the purchaser's own admission. So we're not going to use that one. They themselves are letting us know there's a disconnect. Page 21, Labra Andrade, again, I use historical R&M versus Altus's estimate at 800 a unit. I don't know why they estimated 800 a unit when they always come in with 18 to 2,500 a unit on the subject properties when they're appealing them. 23, page 23, 277 Langside. Again, if you go to page 24, you can see line 32. The purchase price wasn't based on the property's net operating income. So again, they didn't generate the sale price based on the net operating income that was displayed. There's a disconnect. So why do a stabilization on it? 333 Ward, page 27, we agree. Thank goodness. 718 Beach, again, page 29. Disagreement between repair and maintenance at 1,000 a unit versus Altus at 500 a unit. Again, do you ever see 500 a unit when they're appealing the property on the subject side? You don't. It's atypical. They have a repair and maintenance study which doesn't support 500 a unit. This is the repair and maintenance amounts that were just after the property was built, 2014. Of course, they're going to be low. So me estimating at 1,000 versus Altus estimating at 500. That's more reasonable, and not for nothing. When the purchaser handed in the sales mailer on page 31, you go to the next page, page 32, line 32, it says they purchased it with a 4.5% cap rate in mind, and it was based on the property's net operating income. Now, I didn't go to 4.5 because I just don't take what the purchaser says as gospel, but it's a kind of a good indicator in regards to what the purchasers are thinking the cap rates are. How would that cap rate go if you go to page 29? How would that cap rate, my 5.04 cap rate, if they actually use the income expenses, which they did, how would that go from 5.4 to 4.5? Well, for one, they would estimate more than $1,000 per unit repair and maintenance. That would cause the cap rate to go down. However, that's not what I did. I just put 1,000 because I thought it was, it's a new building. For a while, it's probably going to run at about $1,000 per unit. So that's why it's 5%. And that sale, keep in mind, was back in 2017. So we're at a 2021 reference date. If you look at the national charts and Altus's own reports, cap rates have been decreasing nationally. So I don't think 4.79, 2390 McPhillips doesn't make sense. I think it makes perfect sense. And then the last cap rate they have is 100 Southview, which is the very last page of my rebuttal, page 34. You can see that. There was no available income and expense mailers prior to the sale in 2016. Occupancy began in 2015 as per the property manager. So Altus, they use the pro forma. And what does the pro forma say? It says a 21% expense ratio. I think that speaks for itself. There's no real data here to use, so we didn't consider it. That's my rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. DuPont. Do you have any questions on the rebuttal?
Yeah, your page 2 with your table. So the second comparable, Gordon, we're 5.73 or 5.74. So you agree with our comparable there?
Yeah.
And 677 Maryland, you're 5.5 or 5.66. You agree with a comparable there?
Well, no, you guys would round up to 5 3/4, and I'm saying it's 5.5. So we don't agree there, but we're closer.
What do you mean 5 3/4? It shows 5.66 there.
I know, but in that instance, it would round up, because I know the way your table works is done by quarters. That would be rounding up to 5 3/4, and we're saying it's 5.5 flat. So we're close. The difference is the repair and maintenance. So we don't agree, but we're definitely not too far off.
For 1960 to 1998, we have a cap rate 5.5. So your calculation of the cap rate for that age group and ours would support the 5.5 that we have for that age group.
Okay, good.
Now the 1955 age group, for 46 to 59, we have 5 3/4, and they're at 5.55 quarter, and you have 5 3/4 yourself also. Is that correct?
5 3/4 on that one, yeah.
And 210 St. Mary's, we have 6.18, but you have 5.7. So there again, your own calculations, you support our 5 3/4 cap rate for that age group. You would agree with that?
In this particular instance, we have a 5.71 cap rate, yeah.
512 Balmoral, that's 1972. We have 5.5 cap rate. That's our opinion for that age group, and you calculated at 6.16. Same as 277 Langside, you calculate 6.10. There again, that supports our 5.5% cap rate that we have for that age group. Would you not agree?
Well, those caps are, I did that stabilization, but those cap rates are unusable. Based on what the purchaser is saying. I really should remove those workups that I did. I'm just, especially for...
Well, you should not remove them, because I'll use that in my rebuttal later on. You would remove them. You would remove them because it doesn't support your position.
No. I should remove them because I'm contending that there's no point doing a stabilization, because the purchaser had indicated that there's a disconnect between the net operating income in place and them formulating a purchase price. So whatever sort of exercise we're doing to come up with a cap rate is irrelevant. So I should remove the irrelevant analysis from my rebuttal. So I think about suiting my purpose involved. I don't work like that. I don't get paid more for beating down cap rates.
Yeah, if you remove them, I will bring them back up.
Okay, they're not removed. They're here. Let's move on.
There.
I don't want to spend the rest of the morning arguing whether or not they should be removed. Okay.
Okay. Now, these questionnaires, they don't say, was there a disconnect? That's a word that you use, right? They just say, did you rely on the existing income stream or something to that effect? And they said, if so, what was the cap rate? So therefore, if they answer that question, they have to come up with a cap rate, and they just put no. So is it just a real reason to say they're unusable?
So let's all go to page 18 if we want to keep going down this road.
No, we don't. We understand. Gentlemen, this is a very full docket today, and we need to finish it. And there are 10 matters, and we're still on the first matter. So if we're taking over an hour per matter, you do the math, okay?
The rest will be very fast, I promise.
We have settlements on 4, I believe.
But we can move on. I don't, whatever.
Okay, okay. I'm finished with the questions then.
Okay. If you have questions, that's fine. But I mean, we need to also just be mindful of time, gentlemen. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So, Mr. Mann, do you have any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, nor do I. So is there a need for summary from either party on this matter?
No, thank you.
I do. I don't like some of the words that Matt has said, that they use post-reference evidence for 2390 McPhillips. I did not. I got the post-reference information that alerted me that was below market rent, but that's how I calculated the cap rate. The cap rate does not show any post-reference data. And he says the word dream, that the purchaser would dream up some rents. Well, that's totally inaccurate. A knowledgeable purchaser is part of the definition of market value. If they're knowledgeable, they will not use actual rents. So the evidence we have on 2390 McPhillips strongly suggests that the actual rents are not on market, and therefore Matt should agree with that and not come up with words like dream up and stuff. And we use Shimichi rents that's available to everybody, that anybody that buys real estate would know, and they would also go and find out what the rents are for new apartments. That's all I have for information on this.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. We will move on to the next matter on the docket, which is 421 Assiniboine Avenue. Perhaps we will take a very, very short 5-minute recess before we proceed with that. Okay. Proceed. 421 Assiniboine Avenue.
File 22-1506, roll number 1209264000, 421 Assiniboine Avenue. Reference date April 1st, 2021. Assessed value $3,600,000 on the model. 1959 effective year, built 1959, 39 suites, 10 outdoor parking spots. So I actually did a recalculation. I'm going to do a recommendation on this property. Let me go to my table here. Pardon me. So it's using, I review the applicant's stabilization. So I'm using a net operating income of $179,531. And I'm using a 5.3 cap rate. And I'm generating a rounded recommendation of $3,388,000. So applicant NOI or cap.
So what was the recommendation? $3,388,000?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. DuPont?
I don't accept. They're still disputing cap rate.
Okay, so just 1 minute then. Mr. Brockus, do you want to finish your presentation then?
Yeah, sure. So now that we've kind of squared away the net operating income, so we've got a 5.3 cap. It's for the model as per age, area, and size. So we got 34 one-bedroom, 35 two-bedroom units, and you can see the pictures on page 9. So it's, you know, Assiniboine Broadway area. You see pictures I could find of the suites. So they're just maintained. They're not renovated or anything. So that's why we don't have an effective age on it. So 5.3 as for the model. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. DuPont. Do you have any questions on the evidence?
No questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mann.
No, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, nor do I. Okay, so thank you very much. Mr. DuPont, please proceed with your presentation.
Yes, if you go to the first page, you'll see the photo, an older building. And you can jump to the cap rates, page 11. So that age group, let me rotate my view. So we have 5% on 5 for property in good location. Now we have, below that, we have site-specific factors. The parking is inferior, so only got 26% parking for the stalls. Suite size, they're small. GFA is gross floor area. There's low at 856 square feet per suite. but above grade, excluding the basement, is 766 square feet. Suite mix inferior, 87% is 1 bedroom, 12.8% is 2 bedroom. So due to the negative factors, we add 0.25%. So then the page 13 is my income approach. Matt has agreed to NOI. Our cap rate report, as you recall, does support 5 3/4 as a base cap rate. Such as rebuttal evidence as well as ours, and would indicate 5 3/4 for this age group. And we just asked that you had a 0.25% premium due to the factors above. So we show those factors again on top of page 13 above right. We show the gross floor area and the above grade there, and we show the parking only 10 stalls versus 39 suites. Now, if you look page 1, you look at the photos. The some apartments are would be half the windows are low because you'd be half below level and half above level. Here, the suites are totally above level. So what they have for basement is there's no suites in the basement. So that when we do the above grade, that would be for the area that has a suite, and that is 766 square feet, including corridors. So once you remove corridors, you would have very little left for the suite, indicating a very small suite. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baracus. Any questions for Mr. Dupont?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mann?
No, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No, thank you.
Okay, nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party on this matter?
No thanks.
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. We can move on to the next matter on the docket. That will be 555 River Avenue.
Okay.
Mr. Baracus, please proceed when you are ready.
Yeah, just let me pull it up here.
Of course.
Okay, so file number 22-2781, file number 12032609000, 555 River Avenue. All value was 19,316,000. Better recommendation to reduce the value, the assessment to 17,448. Better reflect market value. Page 5 are the calculations. The applicant and I have talked ahead of time, and it's my understanding that this recommendation is accepted. So I'll just stop there.
Okay, Mr. Dupont, are you accepting this recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just making a note. Okay, thank you very much. So we can move on to the next matter then. So the next matter on the docket is 595 River Avenue.
Okay, thank you very much. File number 22-3423, roll number 12032619100, 595 River Avenue. Original assessed value was 15,254,000. So also going to do a recommendation on this one based on some negotiation we had. So let me pull up my spreadsheet here. So I'm going to make a recommendation to 13,356,000.
Sorry, just 1 minute. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, sorry. 13,356,000.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dupont.
Yeah, I accept.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, can I ask what that's based on, what the new NOI is, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah, not a problem. So the new NOI on the is 774,672 using the modeled capitalization rate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mann, did you have any questions?
No, I didn't. Thank you.
Sorry, I apologize, Ms. Nesbitt.
No, that's
I'll
okay.
If I've got a question.
Okay. All right, then. If there are no other questions, we can move on then to number 5, which is 605 River Avenue.
Sorry, I just gotta pull this up so I can read it in. File number 22.
Okay, so do we. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Is everybody ready? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
File number 22-3011, roll number 12032625100, 605 River, assessed value 14,043,000. So again, we talked about this one at the time. So making a recommendation to 12,774,000.
12,000,007. Oh, sorry.
And I'll give you, once you get that down, I'll give you the net operating income,
Okay, thank you.
which is 779,210 using the modeled cap.
Which was? Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
6.1.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. DuPont.
I accept.
Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Mann?
No, thanks.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions.
Okay, nor do I. Okay, the next matter on the docket is number 6, 320 Stradbrook Avenue.
Get this up.
Of course. I think we all need a minute just to.
Reset.
I just lost my pen once. There we go. There, found it. It fell on the floor. Okay. Okay. Go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. File number 22-1013, roll number 12031695000, 320 Stradbrook Avenue. Assessed value 3,341,000 as per model assessment. It's one building, 3 stories, built in 2015. 15 suites, 11 outdoor parking spots. So, so I have a recommendation on this one as well. I don't know if it's going to go over though. I don't think so. So the fund might start again. Let me see here. 320 Stradbrook. Okay, so I'm making a recommendation using a net operating income of 145,421 and a 4.75 cap rate. And that's a rounded value of 3,061,000. And so I can give a bit of an explanation as to why I did what I did, because this one's, we'll have a conversation afterwards, but I believe the NOI is okay. Basically, I bumped the vacancy to 7.5 because if you go to back to my brief here, sorry, let me pull it up. And you can go to, well, actually, it doesn't show the vacancy on mine, but we're too high on the income. The applicant actually has a breakdown in regards to the vacancy on it. So we don't have the mailers from 15 to 19, but with the 20 mailer, the 20 mailer is showing high vacancy in the 10% area. However, when you look at advertisements on my page 13, if we could all go there. At the time of the lease up, they were saying that there was only one unit left in terms of lease up. So we scroll down page 14, over 75% rented. And again, these photos were from, obviously you can see the landscaping is not completely done. This is from at the time that the building was being constructed. So it looks like they didn't have problems filling it up, but I don't have the data from 14 to 19 with any vacancy information. I do know that in their most recent year, the one we do have, if you look at what they received versus the model effective gross income, it's lower, and based on the applicant's review, vacancy seems to be a problem. However, I don't have the historical data to know whether or not this is a chronic thing or a short-term thing. We don't have that. So I made the decision to go to 7.5 on it. So that's my recommendation. And I use the applicant's expenses, so that's my recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dupont.
I accept the NOI and I dispute the cap rate only.
Okay. Mr. Mann, any questions?
No, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
Sorry, choking. I have no questions. Thank you. I'm fine.
Okay, I have no questions then. Mr. Dupont, please proceed with your presentation.
Photo shows the building. This is a relatively modern building. And if you go to the map, we have the aerial photo on page 7. It shows that they fit this on a lot and they have some parking in the back. And that's the 50-foot lot, and I believe it's 148 feet. So it's pretty amazing that they can squeeze so many suites, 15 suites on a regular residential lot. Then we have the map showing where it is. And the cap rate, page 12 that we have for this, for the age group is 1999 plus is 5.25%. So page 12, we list the negative factors. So it's with frame. Parking is inferior at 66.7%. Suite size, they're very small. The GFA, gross floor area, is low at 867 square feet per suite. The suite A, there's 2 types of bedrooms, and they have the plans. I have the plans in the appendix. They're small, 685 square feet. And that's apparently 2-bedroom. And usually we'd have 2 bedrooms would be the 100 square feet. They have 1 large suite, suite C, 1030 square feet. They have 1 large suite for the whole building, which is the lower level. And even though there's these negative factors, I do not give it a premium. I'm just saying maybe you don't like 5.25, but 5.25 includes all these negative factors: low parking, small suite size. The next page, page 14, is the income approach that we had. so we have 2020 only. And top right, we list the factors they have. So they have only 10 outdoors parking for 15 suites. So that would give it a problem for rent up, because if they're charging higher rents of $1,300 a month and they don't have any parking, that could be a problem. And the line 4 is the vacancy is 14.2% as of 2020. And other remarks, I call it chronic vacancy, and maybe that word is not correct, chronic. I'm saying it was built in 2015, so it's not a lease up problem. So they have leased up already. They've gone through the lease up stage, and 5 years after being built, they have the 14% vacancies. So they have a hard time retaining the tenants and attracting tenants. So it's a market resistance to what they're offering. And I show in the remarks the vacancy for 320 is 14%, and 381, the sister building, virtually identical, is 9.7. So we stabilized 10% each, and Matt has redone it with 7.5% vacancy, and have agreed to that. So we had the 1 year expenses, we stabilized, and Matt has agreed to our expenses, except he's adjusted the management fee. He's done everything proper. So I accept his revised NOI, 145,421, and my line 33 was 139,680. And then if you go to the appendix, we have the ads that it has, and then page 23, the owner sent me the floor plans. You'll see the suite that it has. So the bedroom 1 is only 8.8 feet wide. It's extremely small size. Bedroom 2, 11 by 11, that's a decent size. It's not a massive bedroom size, it's more of a regular bedroom. The kitchens is 9.11, so it's relatively small living area. The length is good, but the width is very small, 9.8. The bathroom is really small, 8 feet by 5 feet. And you can see there, they also have a bunch of corridors in the entry. Then you have a corridor between the bedroom, utility room, and the corridor between the bath and the kitchen. So they do have wasted space there. And there, the next page, the suite, similar 2-bedroom. Then the suite C is actually on page 25. And that one is at 1030. It has the bottom right corner is missing. It's mainly because on the main floor, they have a storage electrical room. And that's why they have that unusual shape. I believe I thought I had a total floor plan. Page 30, they have some more of the plan that they have in the ad. It's harder to read the square footage. I had the full floor plan. I guess I don't see it now. Nevertheless, it's only one suite with the large square footage, and the rest is all the small square footage.
Okay.
That's my submission, yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Baracus, any questions?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mann?
Just with respect to cap rates, Mr. DuPont, your page 12, this building was constructed in 2015, but it would still be having the same, or would still be ascribed by your calculations, the same cap rate as a building that was constructed in 1999 at the 5.25%?
That's correct. That's the age group we had when we settled 2020. And we have had similar age groups all along for all the previous years. We have not given a difference in cap rate, but the 4 cap rate comparables we have, 2390 McPhillips and the other 3, Ward and Beach and Southview, are all built 2006 to 2015. So we have 4 comparables of the newer vintage type properties.
But that's as low as your cap rate chart goes, is 5.25%. That would be the best building.
Yes.
With the most. Okay. Okay, thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no questions either. Okay, any need for a summary?
I'm okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next matter on the docket, 324 Stradbrook Avenue.
Okay, one moment, just let me get my bearings here.
Of course.
Okay, file 22-2008, roll number 12031693500, 324 Stradbrook Avenue, roll year 2023, assessed value $2,808,000, 1991, 27 suites, 8 outdoor parking spots. I had a chance to review this last night, so I'm going to make a recommendation on the property here. So let me pull this up. So I'm going to make a recommendation to a value of $2,284,000. And that's based on an income of $272,336. Expenses of $153,549. Which are the altered expenses without the replacement reserve amount. And then the net operating income is 118,787. And that's using the 5.2 cap rate on it. You know, it was 2.4 at the board revision for 2020. So we're actually a little bit below that. I think the value is not overstated at that level. That's my rec.
Thank you very much, Mr. DuPont.
I'm checking everything, and I was writing down.
Oh.
To page 14, I'm on my page 14. Your NOI is 118, you said?
118,787, and then I use the 5.2. So it's basically your work up here, and the replacement reserve line I just removed, and I use the 5.2 cap.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, I would not accept that.
All right. Okay. Mr. Brockes, do you have anything to finish in your presentation, or is this?
Well, let me just go through here. Let's see. I mean, on page 8 of my report, there's a 48,431 declare construction value on a permit, structural alteration to existing apartment block, replacing balcony beams in the second and third stories, using stucco soft fascia as required. So it would appear that they are keeping up with maintenance of long-lived items. And then it's a housing property, so we don't use their actuals, their income. And then you see a picture on the outside. So it's in the same area that we've been in today, basically the Assiniboine, Osborne area. So use the model capitalization. I did take the actuals into consideration other than the replacement reserve amount, which is found on page 10. So that's money that they throw into a pot every year, and they keep it on the side just to take care of longer term items when they come up, like the roof, or rather not the roof, like the permit on page 8. So it's not something that they're spending every year. It's for a capital expenditure. And so I didn't include it. Other than that, I didn't really have an issue with how the applicant stabilized the expenses. I just removed that item and used our cap. So cut it to 2.284 after the border revision 2020. It was 2.436, and they used a 5 cap on it, so we're even higher on the cap. There wasn't a municipal board appeal on that one either, so it's lower than last time, and it's taking the actuals into consideration. So I don't think I'm going too high with my rec. That's my evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. DuPont, do you have questions for Mr. Baracus on his evidence?
Would you agree that we've both you and I have agreed to use replacement reserves, the items in replacement reserves as repair and maintenance, such as appliance and flooring and other items in the replacement reserves?
Yeah, if they're actually spending it, not if they're just putting it in an account. And if it's not for capital items, like if it's just maintenance that's been allocated as a replacement reserve, then that's something I would review and look at a site-specific basis.
Right. So you don't necessarily exclude replacement reserve. You look at each individual items to determine what should be kept and not kept.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like they've allocated 17,600 for at least the past 4 years. So we can see that. I don't think they're spending that exact amount. It looks like they're just putting it into a bucket and waiting for the next big repair. So money allocated onto the side is not an expense.
It's all questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mann, any questions?
Yes, with respect to page 8, the permit that was taken out in 2015, there was substantial renovation and structural work done in 2015 that it would appear. Is that, am I correct in that?
Based on the permit here, they replaced some balcony beams on the second and third stories. Did some stucco soffit fascia as required. So I don't know if that was a comprehensive redo, but the declared construction value was coming in at $48,000, so almost $50,000 worth of work. So that's what I know about that.
Okay, that doesn't affect the effective age. I see the actual year and the effective year remains at 1991.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that pushes the age. I mean, the building is 91. You know, after what was it at that time? 25 years. You're gonna have to do some work.
Right.
So I'm saying that's not something that's like pushing the effective age. That's just something looks like they're keeping up with what needs to be done.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nesbitt?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Nor do I.
Can I redirect from these questions?
Sure.
Okay, so that building permit, it says they included replacing balcony beams. So that's not improvement, it's something that went faulty. Is that correct?
I don't know. I just know what this permit says.
Well, you said the words, they're keeping up but having to replace balcony beams is not a matter of keeping up. It's fixing something that went wrong. Would you not agree?
I mean, it could be. It's okay. So now that I'm reading this, my comments were more focused on the line that said stucco soffit fascia as required. That's kind of what the as required. That's what I tied into keeping up. Replacing balcony beams, that's something that is typically not something that apartment owners have to do. No argument there.
So the stucco soffit fascia could be the fact that they're replacing balcony beams, and they have to do the stucco soffit around where they had done the fixing. Would you agree with that?
Is that in your evidence we can review somewhere and confirm?
No. Did they replace the whole stucco from what you see there?
It
or
says
just
as required. Yeah.
But you have no evidence they replaced the whole stucco around the building. And if they did replace the stucco, that would be structural also?
I believe I made that pretty clear in my presentation, that it was as required, and it's not so much a capital expenditure as a necessary repair. It says as required. If they said redo the entire thing and upgrade, I think the declared construction value would be more than 48,000.
That's all questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed with your evidence.
Page 1, you see the building built 1991, and you see the outside of the building. It does have the stucco there on the one side, and I guess the brick fascia on the other side. And page 2, there's one window AC. The other windows do not have the AC, so that indicates it's not central air. And since the other ones don't have any AC in the windows, it likely belongs to the tenant. That happens quite often with Manitoba Housing, Winnipeg Housing. They don't have AC, and tenants can put their own AC if they can. So the building does not have air conditioning. Then we have a photo of the rear of the property. And we can jump to the property descriptions on page 7. It says it's a not-for-profit seniors home and should be school exempt, but no classification appeal was filed. So therefore, I discovered that, I guess, while I was doing the report. And because the ad does say it's for seniors housing. So we should be putting in an application, or they should put in an application.
I can't deal with that issue today.
No. It cannot. The board cannot deal with that.
No.
Then, as per the photo, it indicates where the lines are, property lines, and they have only the parking in the back. So they have only 6 parking stalls out of 27 one bedroom. So very low parking. Then the map shows, Google Map shows where it is. Then we can run ahead to the cap rate. Such as a 5.2, we're at 5.75. The building is built 1991, 3 stories, so that fits in our category at 5.5%. And we give it a 0.25% premium due to negative factors, which are in the next table. That's with frame. Parking is no air conditioning, sorry. So that's a negative feature. Parking is very low at 29.6%. Suite size is very low. The GFA is only 789 square feet per suite. Suite mix interiors, all 1 bedrooms. So it says that we add a 0.25% premium. Income approach. The next page, I have to rotate. So line 13, we accepted the assessor's rent. And then Matt has accepted my expenses except for replacement reserves, line 29. And it shows there 17,600. So that's the figure they put into reserve each and every year. And we usually don't allow a reserve of expenses. We usually get the replacement reserve statement that gives what they spent out of the reserves. We did not have that, so we allowed 50% of that, 8,800. And if it goes to municipal board, we'll ask the owner to give us the replacement reserve expenditures. At that point in time, we would have accurate figures. But I didn't want to put zero because we'd be understating the value, as there is likely reserve expenditures. And I was conservative, giving it 50%. Now we have the financial statements, and then we have the last page. So if you look at the last page, when we did ask that they give the replacement reserve expenditure, they had it for April 2013 to March 2016. For each of the years, they had some expenses. Now, we should have asked and received that same type of report for the years that we are now using and stabilizing, but we did not. And so where they have a fridge, which we allow, replace sinking cabinets, we would allow. We probably not allow the sump pump. We would allow the toilets. We would not allow balcony repair. We would allow maybe the smoke alarm, paint entrance. Paint is allowed. It's allowable expenses. So they have types of repair maintenance that would be allowed. And they had 3 years of history. We just didn't have the 3 years or 4 years that we had were stabilized. So we did not get that from them. So it doesn't mean it does not exist. But they did allow reserve 17,600. We allowed half of that. So I believe our only difference with the assessor is the replacement reserve expenditure and the cap rate. They have 5.2, we have 5.75, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Baracus, do you have any questions for Mr. DuPont?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mann?
Yes, page 12 of your report, again, the capitalization rates. I'm just looking at the heading on the chart that's typical capitalization rates for good quality properties in good locations. Are there separate cap rate studies, or do you have a separate cap rate chart with respect to seniors residences?
No, we don't. We give it the same cap rate unless they're assisted living or independent living. Those would have meals and all that. These would have a business component. And this one is not. This is strictly seniors without the extra services.
Okay, so it's a seniors residence. It wouldn't be open to millennials or people younger looking for an apartment in that area. Fair to say?
Yes, just more of a restricted market, yes.
Okay. And as far as the negative comments, including supply and demand, are you aware of the multi or the seniors residence inventory? Is it saturated in Winnipeg, or is it underutilized? Is there need for more seniors residences, or is that something you're aware of?
That I'm not. That comment is mainly to the apartment universe as a whole, because there's been a large amount of multifamily being built in the last few years, since probably 2005. I believe on or about 2005, they removed the rent controls for properties built after that age. And that has spurred a lot of the construction that we see now, because they're exempt from rent control for 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
So that it's an overall competition from regular apartments.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody need a short break or can we move on?
I'm ready to move on.
I'm okay as well.
I'm good to go.
Okay, so we will move on. If anybody does need one, just let me know. We will move on to the next matter on the docket, 333 Stradbrook Avenue.
Okay, thank you very much. File number 22-3429. File number 12031796100 333 Stradbrook Avenue, assessed value $4,265,000. We discussed this one ahead of time into an agreement. So we have a recommendation to reduce it to $3,872,000. And just let me get my calculations here. So that's using a net operating income of 228,466, and the for 5.9 cap that the model put out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DuPont?
I agree. Or I accept the recommendation, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mann, do you have any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Thank you very much. We can move on to the next matter then, which is, or bear with me for 1 second, 381 Stradbrook Avenue. Please give me 1 minute to flip to it. There we go. It wasn't opening for some reason. Come on. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Please proceed.
No problem. Okay, so file number 22-1015, phone number 12031782000, 381 Stradbrook, assessed by $3,368,000. One building, 3 stories, built in 2016, 15 suites, 9 outdoor parking spots. If you recall the property that we discussed on 320 Stradbrook that had the high vacancy, the newer building, this is like the sister building to it, just down the street. So I'm making a recommendation based on the same vacancy boost to 7.5 because it's having vacancy again. At least the 1 year we can see, but it didn't look like we had problem leasing up. So I made an adjustment, but not to all the way what they're reporting is. I don't know if the word, if this is a chronic thing or an ongoing thing. We don't have enough window. So net operating income 149, 565, and then slight bump to the cap to 4.75 from 4.65. My recommendation is 3,149,000 rounded.
Sorry, can you just repeat what the vacancy rate?
Yeah, so I used a 7.5 vacancy, just like I did for what's it called, 320 Stradbrook.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Mr. DuPont?
I accept the NOI and not the cap rate.
Okay, Mr. Baracus, do you want to proceed with the presentation or leave it at this?
Yeah, I mean, we're at 475. I bumped it to bring it more in line with the 2390 Nick Phillips sale. That's where we disagree. So without going into it any further, I think we've heard enough about the cap rate today, so I'll leave it just there.
Thank you very much. Mr. DuPont, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
No, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions.
Nor do I, Mr. Mr. DuPont, please proceed with your presentation.
Yeah, if you see the photo, it's very similar to 320 Stradbroke. They're actually the sister buildings. Same floor plans, same everything else. So the cap rate that we have discussions on page 11 showed the negative factors that parking is inferior wood frame, small suite, 685 square feet for 2 bedrooms. We had the plans, previous one. We also have the plans again. So they have some negative factors, but we are not adding a premium for those negative factors. We are giving it a cap rate 5.25. We have our cap rate comparables, 2390 McPhillips. We have 5.59, which would support our cap rate 5.25. We had 3 other cap rates for Beach and Southview that would support 5.25, because that's what we settled at for 2020, 1999 plus 2020 settlement was 5.25. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barakis, do you have any questions for Mr. DuPont?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nesbitt.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Is there a need for summary on this matter?
I'm okay, thank you.
No summary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next matter is 396 Stradbroke Avenue.
Madam Chair, the applicant has withdrawn this item.
Sorry?
The applicant has withdrawn this item. I just received the notice of withdrawal.
This matter is withdrawn? Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let me just make a note for 1 minute, please.
That's why I don't have anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day and happy holidays.
Same to you. Happy holidays, everybody else.
Yeah.